guys? This is Alex Rivera. We got Derek right over here, and welcome to the New Race Podcast. We are back with another one. What is up? How you been? It's been a long time, and it's been a crazy ride in life lately. What'd you say?
Yeah, bro. It's like a series of unraveling truths, like
It
Earth's
is.
hidden secrets.
Yeah.
Seriously, 100%, like
Oh yeah, definitely.
100%.
It is really good. It's gonna be really crazy, guys. I mean, you know, so many events had happened since the last podcast. I think the last podcast was about like 3 months ago.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's really crazy, and but we're back, and we're just gonna talk about a few stuff here. We're gonna talk about a lot of serious current events that just happened that was tragically happened, I would say. And honestly, we're just gonna talk about it because we need to talk about it. I mean, many people are like kind of just very cold. Like if you haven't noticed, like people are just really cold towards situations, and it's like people that don't even care, or people don't have sympathy, and it's been that way for a while now, and I think it's not normal. I think when the energy shifts as an environment, if something tragic happens, people are not taking it serious, or people are just like lack of sympathy, and I think that itself has a lot to do with control of people's emotions, and just trying to change people's perspective and not caring too much, and it's just making the world cold. What do you think? Would you agree with me on that?
I would say that, like I said, it's a series of unraveling truths of, you know, Earth's hidden secrets.
Right.
I mean, you understand that there's more to this world, and you can think about it. Let's say you're a kid and you get involved in comic books and um, all these things. You are actually learning more truth than what you're told.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like comic books. There's a reason. There's a reason why comic books exist.
Yeah.
And we as a whole right now are like we're kind of like a new race of people.
Oh yeah.
We're not easily manipulated. We're we're starting to it's starting to happen. We're not easily manipulated. We're more conscious. We're more aware of our environment. We have more respect towards the earth, and we have more respect towards each other.
Yep.
We're now moving to an age where we're more civilized, and a lot of these organizations that were built up in the past, no matter how big they are going to fall, because there are people on the rise right now, and it's just a matter of time. Mark my words, a matter of time. You'll see a lot of these corrupt organizations fall because the technology is there,
Yep.
and they may be using technology, but there are forces that are promoted towards what I spoke about earlier, uh, with the same level of technology. If anything, if any more greater.
Yeah.
There are many people
Oh yeah.
stepping up and changing, and like I said, truth came out.
Yeah.
You see that there's a veil that's being lifted.
Yeah.
So a veil that was on people for so long, and now it's being lifted, and now people can see like, what's really going on here?
Yeah.
And it's probably gonna freak some people out.
Yeah.
A lot of people are gonna be freaked out. I'm like, wait a minute, so this is the truth? Like this is like what's been going on?
Yeah.
Like he's like a group of people in a certain region are have been just running the show, setting up political assassinations all throughout history, and
Yeah.
it all stems back to a certain group of people because they want to get what they want. And when a force comes in and threatens them, it's like, hey, what you're doing is not right. We're moving in a step towards towards a more humanity-based civilization where we're respectful towards the earth, respectful towards each other.
Yeah.
We're conscious, more conscious. We're aware of our environment. All these things is like shifting the way people perceive the world
That's so true.
and the environment around us, and it's a good thing.
Yep.
It's a good thing, and that's what you're seeing. What's I think taking place now.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, and I just feel like people or many people are waking up to just like the truth, and many people are waking up to like what has been hidden from us, and and when someone speaks, they get almost crucified for it. So it's just kind of crazy how things are playing out, and it's really sad where the world's going. But honestly, I love this type of podcast because this is what we're here for. We're here to speak the truth, but in a more energetic, meaningful way, and not taking any type of sides. So that way we can still get our points across, and we don't have to get crucified because what we're not doing nothing wrong, but pointing out what's been out there already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like, oh, we're choosing this over that. Like, we're not choosing sides. What we're just basically is practicing awareness with the spiritual side to it, to kind of help you just realize, like, is this really right? Should I really be doing this? Should we at the country should be doing this? But honestly, it's a lot to take in, and I think being spiritual has a really important side to it. And if you're a leader, if you're a political figure, or just a public speaker, being spiritual has so many benefits because it's going to impact you in ways where you can, take opportunities in a meaningful way and not in a egotistical way. And so I think many people have a lot to learn, especially our leaders and world leaders. I think they should take a few notes from this podcast because we're going to talk a lot about energy. That's what it is. Everything revolves around energy and vibes, and you just really have to pay attention to it, read between the lines sometimes, because sometimes when something south happens and people are trying to hide it, you can literally tell the truth by the energy of the current event. Like, you'll be able to tell, like, oh, this looks fishy already. You're gonna tell. So it's not really us putting out the truth. We're just stating what's obvious energetically. But other than that, man, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy wild ride. Let's talk about like what's coming in 25, 21 days. Like, people are going crazy a little bit. Actually, there's people going crazy, but there's some people kind of like ignoring it. But
it's something, and I sense this about the events happening around 2020, like the whole thing that went on. You gotta ground yourself, and like if you literally ground yourself, you can kind of learn and perceive and connect to the world around you in ways where you can realize certain things. You just have a feeling, and then you can say, "Oh, I just kind of had this feeling."
Yeah.
And it's that feeling you want to listen to.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like today, for example, I had this feeling. I was like, I'm gonna go to this trail. So I went to this trail. Sure enough, I found this turtle, and this turtle was literally stranded in the middle of the woods. And I was like, oh, what the heck is this turtle doing way out here?
Yeah.
So I picked it up, and we took it back to where it belonged. Turns out, the whole swamp dried up.
Oh, yeah.
So it was trying to find a place, and it was far, far away from anything.
Dang, that's crazy.
So I was able to take it to a proper place where it has a sufficient amount of environment to where it can swim and hang out and do its thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, So like, it's crazy, but I don't know how to explain it, but there's many different accounts,
Yeah, for sure.
and I feel like that's like, you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely understand. I agree with you on that, and that's crazy how being dried up is so crazy for a turtle. And like,
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea, but
yeah,
I don't know, it's been different occasions, things like that happen, but yeah, our relationship with the world around us is changing, and we're learning more and more each and every day,
that's so true.
even about ourselves and
Yeah.
what we're capable of.
So true.
So I don't know, did you ever look into the telepathy tapes?
Yeah, you told me about it. I remember we talked about that, and then we went over a few.
Yeah, so she has recently been featured on the Sean Ryan show, the doctor that has been involved in that, and she um, realized there's so much more, and a lot of so much more to like us and who we are,
Yeah,
and just by studying these autistic children,
yeah,
who through research and studies found out that they possess like certain special abilities. And those special abilities can be used and implemented and to help us solve world problems.
right.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. This is like literally gonna change the world.
Yeah,
Like especially when those kids. I grew up with someone who was autistic, right? And because you're different, you get a lot of hate for it because you're. And so I got to experience that growing up with someone like that.
Yeah,
But learning that, I was like, wow, okay, so there is something there.
yeah,
It's like some of these kids are born with like access to, I don't know, certain parts of our brain,
yeah,
or are connected in a more neurological way than us and can do things,
yeah,
that the typical average person can't do. Like,
yeah,
for example, they found out that some of these kids possess the ability to perceive other thoughts. And it sounds crazy. It does. Like, if I were to be talking about this stuff, let's say 20 years ago, and like this dude was smoking a pipe inside the road,
yeah.
like, dude, get out of here.
Right.
But this is the real deal.
It is.
This is the real deal.
It is.
And it kind of fits into like the new race type thing, and I really do think that it's very easy to get caught up in a lot of world events. But it's good to know wow, this person really, to honor and respect certain people and learn from them.
Yeah.
Because wow, this person really stepped up and was trying to create change in a positive direction.
Yeah.
And then he died for it. That's respectful. But understanding, it's like, okay, we need to look within ourselves more.
Yeah.
What is this about? That's like his message. Like, hey, we gotta start looking within. We gotta start listening.
Yep.
We gotta become more conscious.
We do.
And
it's all part of the elevation.
yeah, and more aware, and then that's how we kind of step into like a new age. But the thing is we're already doing.
Yeah.
Look at those discoveries with autistic children, knowing that they possess special abilities.
Yep.
It's extraordinary.
It is pretty crazy. There's always a world within a world within a world, and so I always like to say I always like to think that even the smallest microscopic organisms that we can't even see, they have their own world, and then there's us, and then it goes beyond that, and then it goes beyond that, and then it goes beyond that, and then years ago, I can't say it now because it's out there now, but years ago, people didn't really get the fact that we're not the only ones here. There's other things that are living among us or beyond us, and even in the day of ages, like a long time ago, back in the BC ages, you're gonna come across stories that of extraterrestrials or origins that came to the earth and they're not all the way human. People did not pay attention to that for the longest, and now that we have a mothership coming in like 25, 21 days, it's gonna open a lot of people's minds. I don't think that it is their first time here. I think this is just a media coverage to let the public know, like, hey, we've been here and we're coming here, and this is where you're gonna see us. And it could not be a real thing. It could be Project Bluebeam. It could be.
Yeah.
But the point is that they're gonna let people know, like, we've been here, type of thing.
Sure.
It kind of normalize that in society, because right now people, and it's crazy how long it's been, but many people are just now catching on the fact, like, oh, we're not the only ones, and we're not, and if you really pay attention, some of the world events, ties a lot into what we're dealing with now, and it does. I can't really speak too much, but if you listen to other people like Bob Lazar, right?
Mhm.
And he'll talk about like different agencies within the country who do certain things to get more information or to study more artifacts and come across these origins that is really unexplainable. But yeah, I think everything is coming to fruition, coming to the light. There is more that meets the eye,
Mhm.
and I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Transformers was right. Shia LaBeouf was right, bro.
Right.
Like when he spoke those words to Megan Fox, he was talking about something that was way far beyond than what we actually thought he was talking about.
Yeah, no, he was.
I mean, he's the GOAT. Like, shout out to Shia LaBeouf, man.
And
You're the GOAT, bro. I have so much respect for him
Me too.
as a dude, cause he humbled, bro. He literally stepped up and was like, you know what, I'm gonna do right.
Yeah.
And he took a lot of heat for it.
Yeah.
He took a lot of heat, and he was like
Yeah.
exiled from like Hollywood for a while.
Yeah, and he
Because
still
he
is.
decided,
Yeah.
but he's the GOAT, bro.
But he knows. See, someone like him knows the industry.
I understand.
And I want to talk about that
he's
too.
a great. I've always liked him. Like when he was on Disney
Oh yeah.
and stuff like that. That was inspiring.
Yeah.
Now he's like, and then Holes, Lawless.
Yeah.
All those other films that he was. Transformers,
Yeah.
Eagle Eye.
Oh
I
yeah.
believe yeah, he was in that. Dude,
I want.
incredible, man.
I want to bring up the fact that how you said that when you mentioned.
Constantine, he was in Constantine. He was
Oh.
a taxi driver in Constantine. He was a taxi driver in Constantine. Chase, his name was. I think his name was Chase.
Chase.
Yeah, Chase.
Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that movie. Not that one, but.
But
Yeah, I like Transformers. But I'm gonna just bring up, man, something that you said, like, that they were right the whole entire time. Like the movie, like the Transformers, they were right. They said it, right? And they spoke about it way before anything else, right? Well, that's the thing, though. Like, I want to dive deep into, too. Like, of course, they put it in movies. They're gonna put it in movies. They're gonna try to normalize it. Even when they tried to normalize it years ago, they put that out there years ago. So slowly we're kind of catching on. But, that's the thing about the movie industry that people don't know about, that I want to bring up to people's perspective is, the media is controlled. Hollywood is controlled. And we're going to get into more about Hollywood in a bit right now. But, the Pentagon controls Hollywood. They actually sign deals where they fund movies, so it's all part of Hollywood. The government has its own share, its own agenda to put out whatever Hollywood puts out. That's why when they put some movies in about the truth, they call it predictive programming. They try to program us, tell us a little bit about the truth because they need to, they have to. It is a rule that they need to do. And some people will catch on, some won't. But now the world is different. Everyone's forced to be catched on now because of what's going to happen in 21, 25 days. But that's the thing. I think Hollywood has been a face of, the face of like putting ideas and agendas out there for the longest time, but now that's changing. Hollywood is actually going downhill, guys. It really is. Hollywood is not what it used to be because of so many things that's been happening, all the negative stuff, and companies are pulling out, stepping down, and the new Hollywood now is creating stuff at your home. Many people, even including myself, I was a victim of it, wanting to go to Hollywood. And I did for a little bit, but I didn't stay there. I just visited back and forth. But kind of glad that I didn't move there because Hollywood is so dangerous. You're going to be surrounded by dark people, people who want to shut you up, and they won't allow you to be you. And, sometimes it's so dangerous to be in places like that because imagine people like you and I that want to talk about this. If we were in Hollywood talking about this 3 years ago, we'd probably get shot. I'm not gonna lie, but no, I mean now it's different because the truth is coming out. It's, we're meant to be here around this time, speaking of things like this, and then with Hollywood, this is the new Hollywood right here. You can do it anywhere you want to, and that's the beauty of today's society and the world where the internet is going.
I can have some input. Uh, there's there's a lot to it, but also it's like a lot of it doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is like understanding that we have the power. That the thing is if we're aware of these things, we can open. We're like, all right, I'm open. Talk to, say, hey, point me in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I'm open to. And someone could all of a sudden have these ideas that start coming in, or maybe a feeling of okay, I need to do this, or the next thing you know, they receive a series of like information and blueprints of how to do this, and look at Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
Leonardo, like incredible person.
Right.
Incredible person. Those people are still here today. He was not. He was simply. He was creating because he felt like that's what he was here to do.
Yeah.
And he did it at a level that was like so impressive.
Yeah.
And he had helicopter designs, tank design. He had so many crazy, cool, amazing, outstanding things from his time period.
Yeah.
That shows you that he's brilliant. Like that's what we're capable of. Like the rapid change in history, we think it's like, all this stuff's gonna happen at this time. Way like, we're not gonna be alive to see it. No, it's happening now.
It is happening now.
We're uncovering breakthroughs in energy. We're uncovering solutions to clean out the oceans. We're uncovering, sustainable building materials that can eventually replace wood.
Yep.
So we can protect the forest. All these things are transpiring and taking place as we speak now.
Yep.
And it's so important to know and understand that. Understand that's what's happening, and let the past events, the recent past events, mean something like, okay, what am I gonna do? How can I implement whatever the individual spoke about. Charlie Kirk spoke about what's something that I can implement.
Right.
Because there's a whole message there. There's like you can't just go by little little clips.
Right.
Clip. There's no such thing as real investigations, real research. Like you do you learn all your information based on reels. I was like, no, that's not a thing. There's documentaries, there's podcasts, there's vlogs, there's all these things that make sure that the source that you're getting from is credible.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, being rooted and have a certain level of awareness. Like, okay, because then you can kind of feel things out, and have some type of intuitive based perspective, and a grounded perspective when you take a stand on something.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
it requires to really learn about the subject, especially if your job, you're put on here to be a leader, to be a thought leader of your community, to be someone whose job is to kind of send a message.
Yeah.
And Charlie was someone like him was someone who's doing that, and a lot of people don't know it wasn't really political. You can go political, but I'm not really going there because the way I perceived it, what I got from it was nothing political. It wasn't even that. It was way far beyond political.
Yeah.
It was about human rights and and spiritual.
It is.
And he stood up right in the face of it. Every single time I was right there staring him down his back trying to get after him, and he stood and stood and stood and stood and stood. Eventually, until the shift happens.
Yep.
And then he was like, all right, I'm done here. And but at the same time, like I said before, right now there's a massive movement which is basically unraveling better hidden secrets.
Oh, yeah.
And all things.
Oh,
And you're talking about understanding that culture is a big thing. Respecting culture is huge. You can learn so much.
yeah.
Like Scotland has its own culture, England has its own culture, Ireland has its own culture, and that's also something that can really allow us to grow as individuals and as humankind, understanding that people grow up in certain areas, therefore their culture is different. It's like, okay, what can I learn from their culture that can open me up and make me a better person? Having that, and you may not agree with, but it's like, what can I learn from these people and implement into my life, or how can I use their perspective, what they're teaching me about this world? How can I use it to my good doing?
Yeah.
And there's a lot, man. I mean, look at the people in West Africa. They're called the Dogon tribe.
Mm.
And the Dogon people, they're talked about on Joe Rogan, also Billy Carson. These people, a tribe of people, they knew more about the solar system than any person on Earth ever did at that time. This is like back in I think it was like 1920s or something like that. Get me wrong, you can fact check that. I would.
Yeah.
That was right around development of the telescope, and it was mind blowing to some explorers that went over there and was like, oh, these people know all this. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Well, like how do they know the Sirius B, Sirius A, Sirius C? I believe that's basically how do they know all this information about the Sirius star cluster?
Yeah.
Like how in the end eventually they proved that wow, they're actually accurate 100%.
Yeah.
How is it?
You'd be
How
surprised.
is it they knew down to the mathematics and everything?
Yeah.
And if you look more into it, basically that's stuff that's been passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Till now, and it's pretty extraordinary. Like when you learn about it, it's like whoa. When you learn about stuff like that, it opens your mind up, makes you become a better person because you realize, wow, there's more to this world. There is. And to me as a person, I think that's important because especially if you eventually one day become a leader, a CEO of a company, you want to make sure that they're doing things right. That's according, towards like principles. That builds a strong foundation within your business.
Yep.
The ethics and the ethical foundation of your business is important.
It is.
That's something that's lacking in a lot of business nowadays. A lot of it's like profits. Yeah, that's great.
Crazy.
That's great. That's good. That's good. But there's also other things you have to consider. When you're, for example, when you're mining you have a mining business and you're mining for certain minerals, rare earth minerals. Let's go with the Porkies and the UP. There's a mine there. Well, this mine is not a Michigan or United States based mine. It's a foreign owned mine,
Okay.
and it's in an area. It's in an area where it's a very vulnerable to polluting the Great Lakes Superior.
Okay.
So the thing is it's important to know and understand doing something like that in areas like that. That's not okay. It's like you're posing too much of a threat. I know and understand. Wow, there's so much. This is loaded. This is a spot loaded full of this stuff. Well, sometimes we either find a better way to do it, or we don't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree.
In certain areas, you just do not.
Yeah.
When it comes to mining, there's certain areas. When it comes to watersheds and stuff like that, where you don't want millions of gallons of toxic waste
Yeah.
sitting right next to a precious river delta that feeds
Yeah.
into a massive protected park.
Yeah. I agree.
And it's realizing that that's important, as well as that and if you want to take it towards politics,
Yep.
if you want to take it towards the morals and ethics of people in politics, that's important too. So it's like it's an all around thing. And when you have someone that is kind of like grounded and open minded about all these things, well then they kind of go about their business and everything works out. They solve problems, and and you'll see prosperity and abundance and things being brought forth because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I think that's one of the biggest message that everyone needs to hear is like, for the CEOs and business people, bigger business people, like, it's all about morality nowadays. Like, how are you gonna run your business? Like, many people nowadays, like these, billionaires, not all, but a lot of them, they just don't have that morality, and the way they practice business needs to be changed. And maybe not so much of the newer generation. I just feel like many of our newer generations are more, they're just more spirited, more highly spirited, and more cautious about it. But and it's not all. I mean, it's there's a few younger entrepreneurs or business people that are taking the lead and following the steps of, like, the older CEOs, the people that has been doing these for years. But there's a lot of things that needs to change, and it's all about elevation. Once again, how are you gonna leave this world? Are you gonna leave a positive impact? Because it does come back to you, even if you're dead. Energy doesn't die; it just transforms. In this next life, it may come back to you. Start thinking that way, and just leave the world a better place. To be quite honest.
100%, and I can agree with you on that one. You're actually starting to see that, and like you said, there's a new company that just popped up. It's called it's a something mill. But Dana White, Chipotle, Hilton already invested into the company, Modern Mill or something like that.
Yeah.
I think this was called Modern Mill. Basically, what they do is I think they manufacture building materials out of sustainable materials, sustainable resources. So I believe they're using like rice hulls or something like that. But it's a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Our answer to a lot of the things that are going on right now is simple.
It is.
This goes back to like the indigenous people. And if you go on PBS, if you type in PBS, there's actually a documentary series that just released by this woman who goes around and talks to a lot of these indigenous people from different countries and jungles and stuff, and learns from them and brings that knowledge to the world. So, learning about stuff like that, shutting down your ego for a second, be like, all right, what can I learn from this? And watch these documentaries. That's one thing. Maybe You can't fly over there and meet the. You can watch a legitimate, non-politicized, non-Hollywood versions of documentaries that bring truth to you, and you can learn more. You can learn a lot.
Yeah.
That's
There's a lot of research out there, guys.
Research.
You gotta just think and do. Think and do. But real quick, we're gonna have to just go on a quick break just to get recharged here. But before I go, I just want to share with you guys the new Race podcast book. Or not the new Race podcast book. It's the New Race Divine Code Lineage book, available on now and Amazon, and you can go to www.newracecode.com. If you guys cop yourself the book or any type of merchandise, that will just go all towards the podcast, and then for future reference, we're gonna start donating to kind of like a small charity, and we're gonna just grow the charity. And I think we're gonna build our own foundation on it, because I kind of want to, focus on just help putting those funds to kind of like fund a way to kind of like open people's minds a little bit. So we're gonna have to find a way to kind of like
create.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing right now. What are you talking
It is.
about? Dude, that's what we're doing right now.
I guess we're just gonna do more. That's the point. We're
Yeah.
just gonna do more. I don't know what it is yet, but it's gonna go crazy. But we'll be back. So we'll be back.
It's quite it's quite the time. There are people that may be in fear, people that have lost their minds, need help. One thing's for sure is focus on being a solution. We have all these problems around us, but every given time we're like, you know what? I'm a solutionist. That's what I am. I believe in solutions, and therefore I'm open to receive solutions from wherever. I think that's also an important message that I want to get out there to a lot of the younger, highly intelligent, very gifted younger generation, is to, be that person of solution, not the person who follows along or decides to get dragged into this company because they pay you a bunch of money. No, you're more than that. A lot of these kids in the younger generation, like 18, 19, 10 years from me, you guys are extraordinary. One thing that you guys need to understand and know is to believe in you, but also do not follow or allow yourself to be dragged into a company or wherever that does not follow your morals.
Yeah, don't be bought out.
Do not sell yourself at all. And that's one thing that this now world-renowned martyr, president, would have been future president, but political activist Charlie Kirk, he was he's a warrior.
Yeah.
He's a warrior because he was misled. He was believed. He was basically at first told certain things, and therefore he believed those things, and he had to change his mind because he started investigating and learning more. Like, okay, there's this big thing that arose recently. What's going on? What's all this noise about? And after the amount of videos and the ongoing war and stuff like that over, and that country, he started realizing, okay, there's something off, and eventually, through a series of years, he recognized these patterns into certain things, and then he talked about it a little bit. But he stood up for the right things. He's like, hey, we all have we can disagree politically on things, so that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. That's one thing. One of his big messages is we gotta learn to, you know, not give ourselves and sell ourselves to hate, no matter what form it's manifested in. Whether it be a company, a business that just hates the world, just want, you know what, I'm gonna just take everything for myself. I don't care about anyone. Yeah, those companies.
Yeah.
No, it's not why we're here, to be part of companies like that, and that intertwines with, you know, for example, comic books.
Mm.
What comic books were you interested in?
I did a lot of like Spider-Man ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the Spider-Man ones.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah. I was into. I read Avengers,
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
that's
original
cool.
Avengers,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's super cool. I was into. I really like Ancient. I was watching Ancient Aliens. I really liked that. I was like that weird kid. I was like getting psyched out. I was like, oh, Ancient Aliens! I'm gonna watch this shit. What's going on? What's going on? I wanna watch this shit.
Yeah.
I was stoked, bro.
Yeah.
I was like so excited, and I remember, you know, watching about like, you know, the history of mankind and
Yeah.
how we, you know, the Darwinism, how we evolved from, you
Yeah.
know, from basically ape primates to like where we're at now.
Yeah.
There's now a lot of controversy in that. The whole
Yeah.
theory is different, but I was so stoked. I was like, oh my god, what are we gonna learn today? What are we gonna learn today?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. I realized, you know, after, you know, looking into comic books and stuff like that, you know, you take what you know, learn from that, and then you look at the world with it. You're like, huh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot with the media. Yeah, anything with the
So
media.
even in some of these you know, TV series and stuff, and animes, you have like the reporter, you know, talking about this and that. There is a episode where basically this higher intelligent race of like animals came in, and they wanted to basically take advantage of us. And so they marketed this new product, this new drink that had a substance in it that could alter our mind, and they could render control of like us and get us to do things. And I was like, that's pretty crazy. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you, not that you're full blown into, you know, whatever that is, like, oh, we got people out there doing this and that. You gotta understand like the message of it though. It's like, okay, you have to be aware that, you know, anything's possible.
Yeah.
So you could have, you know, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So when a problem arises, you know, the way I approach it, I always have like an open mind and not allow like, you know, the evidence to kind of show me the truth.
Yeah.
Like, with just not with that episode, there could be, you know, other ones. Look at like the criminals and stuff. Batman had a fight off.
Yeah.
The whole concept of that is crazy.
It is.
I mean, you see like Arkham and stuff like that. Basically, yeah, these insane criminals, and sometimes they're you know, released onto the public to whatever means.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you see that playing out. Or, you know, for example, like people having, you know, special abilities.
Yeah.
We were always told that stuff's not real. We were literally from the moment that we were conceived, we're conditioned to think a certain way.
That's so true.
We're conditioned to think a certain way, and I was like, man, is that actually helping your kid? Is that actually raising your kid right? Do you know, or do you introduce your kid and allow your kid to kind of understand, or you allow people to understand on their own, you know? Because eventually they start asking questions.
Right.
But like when it comes to, schools, I feel like it's like the same when it's like the same way when we have a discovery in something. Schools should know about it.
Yeah.
The amount of solutions would be off the charts.
Yeah.
The amount of things could like, okay, this is possible, that's possible. Now there's like this, there was like this limited perspective that was kind of conditioned into people through our current educational system. That's why you see a lot of like, certain educational systems throughout our country and other places. I don't necessarily know how they teach in other cultures, but I know like, you go to some of these like indigenous populations and stuff, it's completely different.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like they're not going to like Ivy League schools and learning that stuff. But when you listen to watch some of the documentaries, what these indigenous people have to say is mind blowing. It's like, wait a minute, we just discovered in science, but yet they knew about it way before we even discovered it. We just didn't believe them until we discovered it. About quantum physics, about growing things.
They're very spiritual. These tribes.
Right, but that doesn't mean they're not intelligent though.
No, yeah. See, that's the thing. There, you see, that's what the world is going to. Like, there's this high AI technology nowadays, and then before even AI technology, it was based off IQ, and in books and stuff. But now, what I feel like what the real intelligence is being emotional intelligence, and being emotional intelligent, you need to really become more spiritual, and becoming more spiritual opens a whole new gateway, because it's always been there. Like even like quantum physics is always there, but quantum physics, when we learn that in school, people think about numbers and formulas, and that's not what it really is. Honestly, quantum physics has a lot to do with energy. And that's what Einstein was preaching about too. He was wanting to elevate in a way where he wanted to elevate scientifically, and with matter and dark light source energy. But he was very spiritual too. You have to be to think that way. You need to become very spiritual, and so that was always the base of intelligence, is emotional intelligence tied with spiritual. I mean, it's always been there, but I think that's why that is the answer to everything. Literally, the world problems, the struggles we go through, the leaders we have to put up with, because they could be egotistical at times or just thinking about themselves. Being spiritual is literally the whole entire answer for everything. But now we're in a new age where we're kind of forced to impact ourselves and to grow and to overcome these obstacles ourselves. And then with even careers, they're forcing creators to be more creative, doing things at home. Hollywood has stepped down. It's not the same anymore. Your home is your own Hollywood. Your own iPhone is your own studio. Like, you have it right there in the tip of your hands. Things are changing. It's not the same anymore. We are evolving, and I think this is the most beautiful and perfect time, because this is all about elevation, especially with like the assassination that recently happened. That is just a huge eye opener for us. It's so sad and tragic that happened, and based off political stance, I don't think anyone should have gotten shot. It's not a good reason to, but I'm hearing, and these are not my words, but I'm hearing it goes far deeper than that. There's more behind the scenes that we just don't understand or not seeing. And so I feel like right now, with everything happening, this is literally a huge spiritual warfare happening right in front of our eyes. And it ties down to the wars, the genocide that's been happening, and just like things that's been happening in the U.S., like these tragic events. This is all spiritual warfare, and it's gonna get crazier because, like I said, I keep bringing this in the next 21, 27 days, however long it is. It's really gonna start opening people's eyes, and that's part of the spiritual warfare as well.
Mm.
So I really can't wait. I've been waiting for this moment.
True.
Because I've been feeling alone for I've been thinking this way since I was 13, right? I'm 26 now. So 13, when I was 13, that was back in the early 2000, 10 or whatever, 10, 12, somewhere there. Back then, people didn't think like this. It's so crazy, and I felt so ashamed to kind of be myself and speak about these type of things that I believed in, or I had programmed in my mind consciously out of nowhere, and I just didn't want to sound crazy. But now I sound less crazy because now it's being put out there, it's being presented. We're talking about it. We're here, and I think it's just meant to be with the divine timing. It really
Sure.
is. It really is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that standpoint. There's a lot of things that are happening and taking place, and like I said before, it's important to know and understand that we are solutions. We believe in solutions, and when something happens like that, that really wakes us up, well then, that lets us know, all right, it's game time. In a sense, okay, we gotta step over game. We gotta look after our people.
Right.
Look after the people that are bringing forth goodness and greatness to this world.
Oh yeah.
Not greed and their own selfish desires and beliefs, but what's good for the world and for the people.
And the race is a serious thing, guys. It
Yeah.
really is. It's just, we're not, and I respect Turning Point, and I respect these other organizations and, other movements, but New Race stands out because it's really different. We want to dive into everything broadly, but in the most positive and loving and spiritual way. This is the new age, and some are ready for it. Some aren't, but many will have to learn. And as we go, living through these upcoming years, it's gonna be different, and it's gonna be more spiritual more than anything. And we're gonna be here right by your side, leading you guys, helping you guys understand. With any questions that you may have, feel free to comment us, email us, DM us. Sometimes I'll read my messages. I do have a lot of DMs that my marketing team already takes for me, but I'll still look through them. Just ask us any questions. We'd like to, help you guys out. If it's more, what are you struggling with? Are you struggling with, mental things, your obstacles in life, or the way you just view the world, or just ways you can't understand the world, or is it ways that you just feel alone and don't feel adjacent to other people's energies? And then that's okay. You don't need to. You're your own person with your own soul. Everyone is meant to be doing their own thing, and that's the beauty of the world.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Sure. And you got anything else that you would like to share? Anything that want to dive in? I think we do got about a couple minutes.
Okay. Like I said before, is we're entering a time where it's easy to be deceived. We have people using AI for means of misinformation, fake news campaigns, and all this. Just don't buy into it. Go straight to the source. If you're interested in learning about, what's going on with these networks of people who are trying to, create or spread darkness in the world, however it may be. You can take that political because there's a lot of politics involved in that. A network people who are exploiting humans, exploiting our resources for their own selfish gain and means. And that, and then you have, networks of people that are kind of doing the exact opposite. And it's important to know that. It's important to know that and know where you stand, because that's something that we need to know more than ever right now, is to not be easily deceived and manipulated and coerced or persuaded into things that go against our ethics, our morals, and what we stand for, our values and what we believe. And don't allow others to push their ways upon us, especially those who are filled with hate. What they believe is filled with hate. What they stand for is not right, because it doesn't line up with the universal laws.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't implement like the same golden rules that Yeshua talked about.
Yeah.
And his mission. And we'll talk about Yeshua in a whole other podcast, because that's a whole other podcast in its own.
It is.
And a teacher, inspired to the world, people who, an amazing person who is extraordinarily gifted and brought so much good to the world that he shifted the world, and he basically elevated the souls and the hearts of many people living around his time.
Yes. And so you guys have it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, this is the new race. You guys are tuning in with the new world, new era, and the new generation. Once again, the new race, guys. We'll see you guys soon.